All praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations to my fellow laborers, and shalom to the saints. A few days ago, I put out a lesson entitled The Perfect Black Swan Event to Bring in the New World Order. I'm going to leave a link in the description box so you can watch that video if you so choose, okay? But I want to play you an excerpt from that video that I put out on March 10th. And then I want to go over an article that came out 5 days after my video was put up. Check it out. This is 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter and verse 17. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." And normally when we bring this precept out is to talk about the martial law that is going to prevent you from going hither and thither. But when gasoline is $20 a gallon, you don't need martial law to keep you from traveling. When you have to fill up your tank and pay $500 to do so, you ain't going trotting here and trotting there. You're going to stay put because you have to. That's what's getting ready to happen, man. They're going to make the cost of gasoline so expensive that they're going to have something called demand destruction. So right now you could book a flight, $200-300 to go here and go there. What about when you have to pay maybe $10,000 to book a flight? You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You staying right where you are. You see that? So that's how they have the perfect Black Swan event to bring in the New World Order. Not by force, but just by making things so prohibitively expensive that, you just restrict yourself from traveling, for instance. You restrict yourself from buying steak because it's just so expensive you can't afford it. You see that? Another opportunity that the government is going to take, because they never let a good crisis go to waste. And this Black Swan event, or this war in Iran, is a crisis, okay? In case you haven't noticed yet. But the government now has the perfect opportunity to force you into a digital ID, like we always sing about, just by saying, hey, we don't have enough gasoline, we need to ration it, we need to ration the gasoline. And we know that you're going to go to a different gas station and go to a different one and another one and a Shell and a Mobil and a whatever other gas station you're going to go to. But we can't have that, so we need to have you on a digital ID so that we can know that you're getting the amount that you need and other people can get the amount that they need because of hoarding and, they're going to come up with all kinds of stuff, man, to herd you into this digital grid like we keep telling you over and over and over and over and over and over. Now I want to read over this article from the Hindu. And I'm going to leave a link to this article as well. But it says, Sri Lanka switches to QR code based system to ration fuel sales. This is the same thing I was saying was going to happen in my video put out 5 days before this article came out. All right. We said they were going to use this Black Swan event or this war in Iran to increase fuel prices so high and limit the availability of said fuels in order to usher in a mandated digital ID in order to make sure everyone can supposedly get the right amount and to prevent preparing for the future. I mean hoarding, which is really and truly panic buying at this point. Okay? It says the weekly quota for cars and motorbikes is limited to 15 liters and 5 liters, respectively. So that's about 4 gallons per week if you have a car or a truck. 4 gallons. If I drive my V6 truck to town and back. That's pretty much 4 gallons, man. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. 2nd Ezra 15:17. The article says, Sri Lanka on Sunday, March 15, 2026, switched to a digital QR code based system to ration fuel sales, a move authorities described as a precautionary measure amid persisting uncertainty in West Asia. Citing prevailing geopolitical developments in West Asia and their adverse impact on global supply chains, Sri Lanka's Ministry of Energy said the country's existing fuel stocks were depleting amid an abnormal increase in demand. Therefore, it has become necessary to carefully manage the available fuel reserves in order to sustain the country's economic activities. It said in a public notice announcing the switch to a QR code system. You see that? And the article goes on, and like I said, I'll leave a link for you to read it. But it says the move requires consumers to register and download a QR code specific to their vehicle for use at fuel stations. Yeah, so they don't want you driving, your truck to get gas, and then your son driving the same truck to go and get gas, and then your daughter and your wife and your cousin and whoever else, all the different family members and friends driving your old rusty pickup truck to get gas every minute while you're siphoning out the gas out of the gas tank and storing it in containers at home and refilling the truck. Nah, they're on to you, man. They're on to us. They know that we need gas, we need fuel. But they're going to do the same thing with food in the future. And then what you going to do? 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, lest he should get advantage of us. Right? I'm not saying the digital ID is the mark of the beast, but it's one step closer. And like I've said in multiple lessons, how far are you willing to tiptoe along with the devil, hand in hand, in order to eat? When are you going to say, you know what? I'm not going any further with this damn beast. Because the longer and the further you go in a relationship with someone, it's the harder to extricate yourself from said relationship. All right? So, again, we just blowing the trumpet, warning people. Whoever hears or whoever doesn't hear, it doesn't matter. We are doing our job to warn the people. Giving our praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, Shalom.